I've always talked about effortless power, and it just seems so out there for a lot of you, I'm sure. For my students, they feel it. They get the form, they learn it, and it's like, oh, that's what it is. So to feel it and do it, and it's tangible, it's just right there. If you see my videos, sometimes I'll explain it in the way of me doing it. It's just like, I'm not very tall, I'm not very strong, and I'm not trying to swing hard or fast, and check it out, I can hit it pretty far. But it can get really lost in the world of swing hard, swing fast, go as hard as you can, come on, get mad. It's really tough because that seems logical. So when you see and hear things over and over and over again, you start to believe it, thinking that's the truth. Where there's this other separate logic that I actually like that word, is aligned to the truth of you see it, you do it, you've seen other people do it, and it's just like this combination of proof and tangibility that's like, you know what? This is really cool. Effortless power is the way to go. The speed stuff, man, I mean, that's a small percentage of people that should even try to do it. And I know that it can manifest into a lot of distance for them, but they're a rare few because one, you can see the athleticism in them and the coordination. And also, athleticism has compensations that can be done well. If you're doing something wrong, the body kind of compensates. And so you can swing hard, but it knows it kind of like will recalibrate if something's wrong, and then to protect the body as much as it can, but it still can get you. Time and time again, if you're adding so much try and so much speed training and force that is not natural, it can over time hurt you. And a lot of times people don't go back to, oh wait, it's the repetition of trying so hard. To give an example outside of golf, oh man, there's just so many, but to give you an example of like punching, let's say you're punching a bag and somebody goes, you know what, punch harder. And that won't hurt so much the person that knows how to punch. But if somebody doesn't, unless you're natural and you do it, you can get away with it. But if you don't know how to punch at all and somebody goes, punch harder, you're going to throw everything you can into the punch that you don't need, and you're still not going to be able to get much out of it other than you just hurt yourself. And then that person's like, come on, you can get mad, punch harder. And you do it again, you could throw your shoulder out, or your back. There's just so much that's not good about that. The best way to do it is show the form, do it in slow motion, get the motion down, and it just kind of like will have this force that comes from that. Trying too hard to generate power, when you can do a form that actually brings that into fruition naturally and as a side effect, it can really hurt your body and can be just like hitting a wall every time. So consider that, when you're trying to swing hard and fast in the golf swing. The golf monitor of like speed, man, if you don't have the eyes to see and know the root causes of why you're losing power or how to generate power, these numbers can really get in the way. So you have a swing speed, it generates a number. What are you going to naturally do if you don't know anything about the golf swing or know other ways to create distance and power? All you're going to do is try to beat the numbers. It's so unfortunate. Like, numbers are there as a side effect. You can measure yourself. But it's deceiving too, because there are other numbers that are important. And so it's a calculation of everything. It's not just swing speed. And so you can have less swing speed, but then you can have really good smash factor. How solid in the club face, like, you know, are you hitting the center of the club face? Angle of attack. It all like comes into play. So with that combination can generate distance. So whenever there's numbers, it really can get in the way. I mean, I never needed to use it, and people were gaining distance to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm happy, like I don't need anymore. And I would say, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get some more if you keep fine-tuning your swing. It's just the side effect to it. I didn't need numbers. It's like you can just see it. And then when people play and when you play, it's like, oh wow, I just gained more distance. It's such an authentic way to gain it. And it's like gifts. It's like you just keep doing the right things and you're just going to get gifts of things that you've been wanting, things that just come to you when you do the right movements. Numbers can get in the way, and a lot of times when people don't know the form and things like that, it's just like, okay, the swing speed says this, let's try to beat it, you know, and it just doesn't work like that. Not for most, maybe the 1% that has decent form. But also those that have decent form, man, I can see kind of the future of where that's going, and it can actually like degrade the swing and make it worse over time. And then people blame age for it, and it's like, no, you just didn't have, you didn't work on the right things, and try to enhance that. I'm sure you're starting to wrap your mind around the logical reason of why you shouldn't try so hard in generating power and trying to swing so fast to gain distance. You're starting to go, okay, that makes sense. Well, then you're going, well, what is effortless power? That sounds like an oxymoron. Like, okay, just don't try at all and then you're just going to get power. Let me give you an example of something that you already have that's effortless power. Let's keep it really simple. I'm going to take something basic. We all walk, and it's a gentle thing that we do, we think. So it's definitely more effortless than running or kicking, jumping. So walking, it's just effortless. It's not very powerful. Have you ever or have seen anyone gently, gracefully walk into a glass sliding door? It's pretty powerful, isn't it? I mean, it just kind of like, whoa. And you could really hurt yourself. That is the effortless power. I mean, I know you've walked into something, like you gently walked into a sofa, or in the middle of the night in the dark, gently walked into the side of your bed. And the feeling that you get, it's like, ow, your toe feels like it's going to fall off. Or that you've walked, had a beautiful day, you're looking at beautiful sky and the birds, and then you run into a tree with your elbow or a wall down the hallway. It's like, ow, it just like stops you because it hurts so much. There was no try, no nothing. You're just walking. That's effortless power. The reason you feel that pain or that force is that in walking, we're all pretty much coordinated, and that's what flow is. A lot of times it's like go with the flow, and you think, oh, it's just like go with the flow. It's so effortless. It's not like that. It's like we're walking, but everything is coordinated, and that momentum is the flow, and it is powerful. So then let's take that to a sport, any sport, but for this video, it's going to be golf. we're not all born to do that. It's not something that we do, and so it's not a natural golf swing that we all have. Very few are born a natural golfer. Unfortunately, a lot of golfers think they have a natural swing. They're always looking outward, so they'll watch the pros swing on TV and things like that. So they're looking outward, but a lot of times when you show them the video of their swing, they're like amazed that it doesn't look like the swing that they have seen. And so when someone says swing harder and faster, the person telling you also a lot of times do not see the issues that you have in your swing. And then you as a golfer don't know that you have issues in your swing. Like you don't know that there's parts in your swing that's like leaking distance and power. It doesn't have flow like walking. It doesn't have the coordination like walking. That's what I'm talking about. That's effortless power. And so in a golf swing, if you can get the right movements, even really good golfers, like I see that they're losing their technique by trying too hard. There are some pros that went that route because it was so trendy to like go fast and go hard and use these monitors, and they went back to working on form because, you know, unless you're a long drive contestant and it's all about distance, you want to also have accuracy and feel. A small percentage it works for them and they can make it work because they're compensating movements even if it's wrong. They have enough good movements. A lot of people, they have more bad movements than good, and you've got to like get more and more good movements in your swing, and just that alone you're going to generate power. So that's effortless power in such a mild sense, walking. We have this force, and I use walking because most of us have that coordination of walking, right? We just do it. We've done it since we were a kid, and it's just this coordination. That's why I love coordination, because it's like, oh, if you align everything, there's so much power to it without even trying. So you take that to a skill set that's complex like golf. And a lot of times people go, oh, I don't need technique. You know, that's just, you don't need that. A lot of people think they're naturally swinging a golf club. And so they don't realize that their motion isn't coordinated. So we're talking about walking, you know, you're coordinated. In golf, there's just a lot going on. And a lot of you don't know that you're not coordinated. You don't have the right form. So then when you hear swing harder, swing faster, come on, get mad, do it, you know, adding all that extra try in a form that you don't have, the coordination you don't have, is just injuring yourself. It's like running into a wall every time you swing. It's just so much damage that you're doing to your body. And if you don't have the eyes to see, you won't see it. Like I'll see people that are, you know, good golfers. They score well. They can even be a scratch golfer, but there are certain things that they're compensating in their swing from their athleticism and coordination. So some can get away with it. It's a very small percentage. But most even scratch golfers that I see, I'm like, wow, you are just swinging really hard and getting very little out of it. You could actually coordinate your body better and get much more distance out of it. So it's hard to wrap your mind around if you can't see it. But I always say we're all experts at something. And so it's not that I can see everything that's wrong or right or whatever. I just can see a lot in a golf swing. Somebody influencing others, like a large group of people, where they're like, it works for me. But I'm like, well, yeah, you're kind of making it work. You've got a good form. Like you already hit it 300 yards. So that adding that extra, you know, punch for boxing, you know, extra speed for that, can can benefit you. But at the same time, I also know the form, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You could put it in better position and get more out of it without all that try. Because that doesn't age well. Like, how long can you sustain that? You know? Then there are those that are really good golfers too at this point, and they're speed training. And I look at it and I'm like, your swing is declining. You know, that's not going to age well either. Like, that's just going to have a peak, and then everybody just kind of follows, but then they're going to kind of decline. Like, you'll start seeing like they have this like power fade, and then it turns into a fade, and then slowly it's going to turn into like a push fade or a slice, and they're going to swing as hard as they can. And most average golfers have a cut kind of shot, more like a weak fade or a slice. And when they try to swing harder, it's just going to turn into a banana slice. You know, like, it just will magnify, actually, the bad motion that's happening and add injury. So I'm going to keep talking about this because at first it's so hard to wrap your mind around. It's easier with my students because it's like they can tangibly see results, and they're like, oh my gosh, this shape of shot creates more distance. And then this movement, I mean, there's so much power we can generate in movement. It just creates more force in your body, just like walking, like I was saying, like walking into a wall. You walk really well, and when you walk into a wall, it hurts. You know, so if you do a golf swing well, there's just so much force that comes out of it. I will continue to talk about this because if you can find a better way, a better path, so that you can preserve your body and you can play golf longer and you can still like enjoy it. It's actually really fun, the effortless power thing, because you can get that exhilaration of hitting it far, but you're not hurting your body. You're actually conditioning your body, strengthening it, and also creating flexibility. It's just all good. So I'm just trying to get you to see things a little bit differently, because, again, what you hear all the time doesn't mean that's the truth. A lot of times you need to critically think about things, really see things for what they are. And I'm going to help guide you to that. All right, take care, have fun, and to effortless power.